Eddie looked down from the high-rise rooftop onto the adjacent building, which was 4 floors short of eye level. Stern and unflinching eyes masking his unquenchable terror. But he dared not walk away from this confrontation, for if he did, it would mean that his many years of painful servitude for a false cause would have been even more pointless than they already were. The realm conduit on the adjacent rooftop, often mistaken for a grim piece of modern art, began to spark with orange lightning before a flare of energy engulfed the rooftop. As quickly as the flash came, it was gone, leaving only a fleshy blob of blood and bone that appeared as if it was suspended in free fall. In a series of sickening throbs and pulses, the blob began to sprout veins, bones, blubber, growing and bleeding faster than you can say upchuck, but still not fast enough to any spectator. The grotesque display of the horrors of teleportation finally came to a close with the draping of albino white, shiny whale skin over a winged, pterodactyl-like body. On a normal day, Eddie's stomach would have heaved up his breakfast after witnessing such a gruesome rebirth. But this was no day to show weakness, for in this moment Eddie knew that the worst was yet to come. Quietly wincing in shock and pain, the giant whale beast gathered himself slowly, his red eyes twitching painfully as they opened. Eddie clutched the handle of his modified elephant gun tightly as he awaited the inevitable. Every neuron and instinct within Eddie was screaming in his ear to run for cover. Stories of the monster's great power and cruelty sprang to his mind, like the one his first recruit, now his rival, Devo, told him about, where the beast turned 50 soldiers into vegetables with his mind, or the story his best friend Angel told him, where the winged whale hurled a mountain-sized rock at a starship. But the one that stuck out the most in this moment was the one his romantic companion, Julie, now his biggest regret, told him about, which details where the beast got its infamous code name. The one where the monster single-handedly defeated a company of galactic Confederate soldiers, and then added insult to injury by circling over them like a condor over carrion. He then proceeded to pick the soldiers off one by one with his psionic powers until only 2 remained. This story and the reputation that came with it solidified the creature's place in history, now and forever, as the White Condor. But Eddie knew it was already too late to run. Even if he tried, it wouldn't be long before the Condor came to his senses and gave his fleeing would-be assassin a brain aneurysm. He had to face the Condor, not just for the world, but for himself too. He needed to give his former master and teacher a piece of his mind, maybe reminisce about their early days, when Eddie discovered his own psionic powers and used them to send a message out to space. Good times, right? Breaking into New Mexico's VLA facility in a desperate attempt to send a cry for help to anyone who would listen was already a story for the ages. But what about when he received a response from the Condor a week later and underwent a rigorous training process to become his first Earthling pupil? It didn't end there either, because after the training was completed, the Condor gave Eddie a real task.
Find other psychics such as yourself and bring them to me for training.
Of course, what really happened was that Eddie was duped into recruiting an army of psychic warriors for his master. 20 recruits later, it became clear to Eddie that he was not the favorite disciple. By the time he realized this, however, it was already too late to do anything about it, and he was forced by his more radical comrades to carry out the will of his master. Eddie never truly understood what his master's will was. What he did know was that he was a wanted murderer now because of it. Local politicians who opposed his rezoning proposal so that a realm conduit could be built, a nosy reporter who found out about the conspiracy and tried to do the right thing about it. Even Eddie's younger brother Jeff wasn't spared from his master's wrath. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. If only the politician's death had been that straw instead. then Eddie could have moved against his master sooner. Who knows? He may have even saved his brother. All this time he had been telling himself that the Condor's ends had to justify the means. Surely this wasn't all just some sadistic power play, and surely the Condor had a grand plan that would ultimately benefit the Earth in the long run. After all, even the greatest of the US presidents had to make terrible choices for the greater good, right? What a cruel and sick joke. But now it's time to tell the Condor a joke. A week after the realm conduit was completed, the Condor requested that all of his disciples be there in 2 days to witness his arrival on Earth. He is in for a rude awakening indeed, because none of them will be there. Eddie made sure of that. Whatever sacrifices the Condor had made to create the realm conduit and escape to Earth would all be for nothing, and the last thing he would see before his years of planning amounted to a pitiful train wreck would be the humorless face of his first disciple.
"Welcome to Earth, Master,"
Eddie called, raising his rifle as he did so.
"Hope you enjoyed it."